Welcome back to another video on 2020 TOEIC series. So far we have covered various parts of TOEIC listening and reading. If you have missed the previous videos, I've created a playlist right here. You can go ahead and watch it. In this video, let's tackle part 6, text completion in the reading section. Please do not forget to like and share and subscribe, and also be generous enough to give me one of these and share it with your friends as well. In this video, first let's look into the changes in this part, then we'll discuss a type of questions, then we'll do a couple of questions together. So without further ado, let's jump right into the changes and then discuss the question types. Part 6 of the reading test consists of 4 short reading passages or text. In each passage there are 4 sentences that are incomplete, and you'll have to choose a word or a phrase to complete the sentences. The main change that you will see in the new version is that there is a blank where you will have to fill in the blank with a suitable sentence instead of a word. From 12 items, now we have 16 items in this section. As in part 5, you will need to be able to identify grammatical form or vocabulary word that correctly completes the sentence. You may also need to refer to the context of the surrounding sentences to answer one of the questions. So in this part, the reading passages may include like letters or emails, memos, ads, instructions, articles, or notices that pertains to like business correspondence. This part of the reading section, you will basically see 3 types of questions. So first one is the grammar-based questions. The majority of the grammatical concepts that appear in part 6 are also tested in part 5, which we already discussed it. It is important to review all grammar points for part 5 in preparation for part 6. Additionally, be sure to familiarize yourself with grammar points that I've discussed in the previous videos. And second is the contextual types of questions. All of the answer options for this question type fit grammatically, so you cannot depend on the grammar knowledge to know the correct answer. Instead, you'll have to use context clues. So when I say context clues, I mean say the main purpose of the writing. And the third type of question is called the sentence fill-in. So this is a new type of question compared to the older version, where you will have to complete the writing by selecting a suitable sentence from the answer stem. So the first type of question in this part is the grammar questions. In addition to the grammar rules that I sort of discussed in the previous video, these are some tips that I can give you to answer this part as efficiently as you can. For example, skim the passage. So regardless of the passage type, the first thing you should do before you try to answer the questions is skim the text. So when I say skim the text, you have to quickly read through the passage, paying attention only to the main ideas and how the text is organized and it's written. And you have to become familiar with the phrasal verbs, which I've already discussed previously, and become familiar with business collocations. So these are words like related to some particular business or industry. And the third one is look for transition in the passage. So transition words I will discuss you in detail in the next video. You have to look into the transition word to understand organization and find information. Let's look at some of the common business phrasal verbs. As you can see it on your screen, these are some of the common phrasal verbs that you will often encounter on the test. Apply for means to apply for a job. Call in is when you ask the permission for a sick leave and take the leave. Then go over means to make, check, or read the figures. And draw up means to write a contract or to make a contract. Send out is to send. So these are some common phrasal verbs that you will see. You can also see the other previous phrasal verbs which I showed you on the previous video. Next, business collocations are words that are typically found in business context. For example, a brief absence is a short absence, and a glowing recommendation means giving very good recommendations, and grounds for termination means the reason for termination. As you can see, there are other very common business related words in the table. A transition word or phrase that shows the relationship between paragraph or sentences of a text or speech. A transition provides greater cohesion by making it more explicit or signaling how ideas relate to one another. Transitions are bridges that carry a reader from section to section. There can be many types of transition words. To make it simple, let's keep it at 4. However, I will make a special video about transition words in the next episode. Look at the table. On the left hand side, you can see the categories of transition, and in the middle you can see the example words, and on the right hand side you can see the examples. So the second type of question is the contextual questions. For contextual questions, it is very important to skim the passage. You should be aware of the context of the communication, and something like what is the purpose, what is happening, and what will happen. For contextual question, I can give you the following 3 hints. So understand the key concepts of the passage. Understand whether the answer options have positive or negative connotations. So connotation is link. And look for time markers in the nearby sentences. Understand the key concepts of the passage. If you know that the main idea of the passage is, you will be able to identify vocabulary that is related to the main topic. For example, if the passage is about the banking industry, you would expect to see common banking words such as balance, deposit, or checking account. Don't forget to skim the entire passage. The main ideas and helpful clues are not always in the same paragraph as the blank. For example, just by looking at some of the words, you have a vague idea about the overall passage. For example, loan, checkbook, expenses, receipt, ad campaign, resume, hiring manager, withdrawal, recruit, billboard, target customer, balance sheet. So when you hear some of these words, you have an idea of what the talk might be about. Number 2 is consider whether the answer options have positive or negative connotations. By thinking about the positive or negative connotations or meanings of each choice, you may be able to eliminate options that do not fit the overall meaning of the sentence, passage, or paragraph. Look at this example. For Lisa was pleased about her recent misfortune, promotion, dispute, and confusion. So Lisa cannot be pleased about a misfortune or a dispute or a confusion. It's very clear. So for obviously, here the answer should be promotion. She's pleased about the promotion. The other 3 options, no one would be pleased about a misfortune, dispute, or a confusion. And number 3, look for time markers in the nearby sentences on the left hand side. So these are some of the words and that will give you hints about if it happened in the past. So in the middle, so these are hints that it happens every day, or it happens often or habitually. And on the right hand side, you will see the things that might happen in the future. So these are basically some time markers that you should be very careful with. And the third type of questions, which is the new one, is the sentence fill completion. So for sentence fill completion, you will have to understand the full grasp of the text and understand the main idea of the text. You will have to understand the tense it is written in, and also what will happen next. The paragraph in which the sentence is being missing will test if there is a link between the sentence and the paragraph. So you'll have to be able to understand the overall concepts of the writing. Okay, now that you're aware of the 3 types of questions, that is the grammar, the contextual, and the sentence fill-in, let's do this example. When you start reading, please do not forget to read the title. Question 143 to 146 refer to the following email. Just by reading this, you immediately know what type of writing it is. Next, go ahead and figure out who has written the email and then see whom it is addressed. In this case, Ken Suzuki is writing the email and it is addressed to Mr. Pod. Find out the reason for the email. This you can do it by reading the subject of the email. Here it is to welcome to art today. Other than that, you can also see other details like dates and attached files. After that, start reading and then be careful with the transition words, as I mentioned earlier, because the transition word links the passage one after another. You can see, and then on the third line, which indicates it's continuing. You also find also on the fourth line, which again indicates continuation. Now go ahead and read the blank 143. For 143, the answer option is A, because the email is sent to confirm the subscription. Move on to 144. This is the new type of question. You have to select a sentence to fill the gap instead of a word. This tests you if you understand the paragraph. Read carefully but quickly. For 144, the correct answer is option B. If you do not receive your copy in a week, please contact us immediately because they want to make sure you receive the subscription. Move on to 145. For 145, the correct answer is option D, access. As you can see, all the answer options have the same root word. You have to use the tips I mentioned in the previous video. For 146, the correct answer is option C, on, because the subscriber number and password is printed on the attached form. So it has to be option C. You have to be very quick to read through the lines and watch out for transition words. All figure out what each paragraph focus on, because that way, that's how they establish the link. You can now try other examples. Right, this brings to the end of part 6, and you know something? Communication actually is a skill that we can learn. It's like riding a bicycle or typing. If you are willing to work at it, you can rapidly improve the quality of every part of your life. Okay, and English is just communication, right? So if you like this video, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Until next video then, keep yourself well. Cheers.